There's a part of you that you pretend doesn't exist. A voice you silence. A feeling you bury. You think you're in control. But what if you're not? Carl Jung warned us. The shadow we refuse to face doesn't disappear. It sharpens its teeth in the dark. And when it returns, it doesn't knock. It takes your dreams, your relationships, your future. Most people believe monsters live in forests, in cities behind locked doors. But the real monster lives closer, inside. Jung called it the shadow, the side of you you deny, repress, disown. Not because you're evil, but because you're human. Every anger you suppress, every desire you shame, every fear you run from, they gather, they grow. Modern society tells us to stay positive, think happy thoughts, chase the light. But Jung knew the truth. The more you run from your darkness, the more it owns you. The shadow doesn't vanish because you ignore it. It waits. It sabotages your success when you get close. Poisons your love when you start to feel safe. It strikes when you think you've finally escaped. Facing your shadow isn't about becoming less. It's about becoming whole. Because until you face it, until you really see it, it will continue to rule you from the shadows. We are not born afraid of ourselves. The shadow is not a curse we inherit. It's something we create. Piece by piece. Moment by moment. Every time we hear, "Don't say that, don't feel that," that's not who you are. A part of us is cut away and hidden. Carl Jung described the shadow as the unconscious dumping ground for everything our conscious self refuses to acknowledge. Anger, envy, desire, fear, even talents, the ones we were too afraid to express. We push them out of sight to survive, to be loved, to fit into the image society demands. Psychologists today back this up. Studies show that repression, the act of burying emotions and thoughts, doesn't erase them. It only drives them deeper into the unconscious mind, where they ferment, distort, and leak out in ways we can't predict. You think you're calm, until one day you're screaming at a stranger. You think you're kind until envy poisons your friendships. You think you're strong until fear stops you from speaking your truth. The tragedy is not that we have a shadow. The tragedy is pretending we don't. Because the longer you avoid it, the more control it has over your life. The shadow isn't your enemy. It's your forgotten twin waiting to be seen. You think you're making choices, but what if some of your biggest decisions aren't really yours? The shadow doesn't attack head-on. It whispers, it bends, it sets traps you don't even see. You think you're chasing success, but secretly, you fear what success would demand of you. You think you're choosing love, but you're drawn again and again to the person who will break you, just to reenact old wounds. Carl Jung called this shadow projection. When we unconsciously cast the denied parts of ourselves onto others, the rage we disown becomes the injustice we see everywhere. The weakness we fear becomes the flaw we hate most in someone else. We're not seeing reality, we're seeing a mirror. Modern psychology confirms that unintegrated emotions often resurface through projection, sabotage, and compulsive behaviors. Self-destructive cycles aren't random. They are orchestrated by the parts of you you refuse to meet. You delay your dreams. You sabotage healthy relationships. You destroy opportunities, all to protect the fragile identity you've built. And the scariest part? The shadow doesn't need you to notice it. It only needs you to stay asleep. The real chains are the ones we forge with denial. And the shadow holds the key, but only if you're willing to look. There's a reason you avoid the shadow. It hurts. It strips away your illusions. It forces you to confront the parts of yourself you swore you didn't have. But behind that fear lies something even greater, freedom. Carl Jung taught that individuation, the process of becoming whole, requires facing the shadow, not defeating it. The goal isn't to destroy the monster. It's to understand that the monster was never your enemy. It was your fear, your woundedness, your unclaimed power, wearing a terrifying mask. Ancient myths knew this long before psychology did. Heroes don't find treasure by staying safe. They descend into the labyrinth like Theseus facing the Minotaur. They fight in the dark, not because they love the darkness, but because that's where the transformation lives. Modern neuroscience supports this. Emotional resilience grows not by avoiding fear, but by meeting it consciously. Shadow work builds real strength, the kind that isn't fragile, performative, or hollow. You won't find your true self by polishing your mask. You'll find it in the places you least want to look. In the anger you repress. In the jealousy you deny. In the loneliness you hide. The paradox is simple yet brutal. To truly live, you must first dare to meet what you've spent a lifetime running from. Integration isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming real. When you face your shadow, you don't erase the darkness. You learn to carry it. You stop living in fear of your own instincts. You stop blaming the world for battles you're actually fighting within. Carl Jung believed that the integrated person, the one who accepts both light and dark, holds the true power to shape their destiny. Not because they are flawless, but because they are aware. Awareness turns sabotage into choice, projection into understanding, blind reaction into conscious action. In today's world, the temptation to curate a flawless self-image is everywhere. Social media rewards the mask. Society praises the facade. But deep connection with yourself and others is only possible when you stand naked before your own complexity. Studies show that people who embrace their full emotional range, not just the positive parts, are mentally healthier, more resilient, and more capable of authentic relationships. The shadow doesn't make you less worthy. It makes you human. It makes you whole. And here's the truth Jung hinted at. The light you seek isn't outside you. It's hidden inside the very darkness you fear. Only by embracing your shadow do you become who you were meant to be. Not a half-truth, not a borrowed mask, but a soul awake. What we call growth is not the addition of something new. It's the recovery of something forgotten, something buried under years of fear, shame, and silence. If you stayed until here, maybe part of you already knows. The shadow is not your enemy. It's your doorway. The world doesn't need more perfect masks. It needs more whole people. People who can stand inside their own contradictions without breaking. People who can walk into their own darkness and bring back the light. If today's reflection stirred something inside you, a discomfort, a question, even a silent sadness, hold on to it. That discomfort is not a mistake. It's a signal. It's your soul knocking. You are not alone in this labyrinth. We all walk it, whether we admit it or not. If you feel called to continue this journey, I'll be here, with more questions, more difficult truths, and a light to borrow when yours flickers. Leave a comment if something resonated with you. Like and subscribe if and only if it feels real. This is not a place for numbers. It's a place for conversations that matter. Until next time, stay curious, stay uncomfortable, stay awake. Because the shadow you fear holds the key to the freedom you crave.